Good morning, traders and investors around the world, and welcome to Wednesday's edition of PreMarketInfo.com, where we prepare you for the most important hour of the day, the first hour. Dennis is a little caught up in the trade cave again today, so I'll be going solo here on SPU&Big 10 analysis. Getting right into the S&P as we've made an overnight high at 1287.75. If that stands as the high of the day, we have a downside target of 1270 and a quarter. Globex low currently stands at 1279 and a quarter, just below that mild support at 1280. If that holds as the low of the day, we have an upside target of 1296.75. Trading right now mid-range, folks, so we're going to get a test early of either the Globex low or Globex high early in the session. Moving on to the Big 10, Apple Computer, after making a new all-time high on Monday, was unable to reach that level, only getting to 426, so that would be our first stopping point, as well as the all-time high at 427.75. Currently trading below the close of 23.34. But the numbers, good numbers that I want to alert our listeners to today, the old Monday, Tuesday low here in Apple at 421.30 to 421.50. So a break below that, and look out below. Moving on to our next component, ExxonMobil is currently trading down 38 cents here in the pre-market, actually opening up into good support. Tuesday's low at 85.38. So look for a bounce off ExxonMobil, perhaps to get up and test the settlement at 85.72. Below that 85.34 level, which has been the low in the pre-market, look for a test of this 85. So that 85 level is still looming large in ExxonMobil. Moving on to our next component, IBM, trading down 41 cents currently, already through yesterday's low, which is 181.20. So any kind of bounce to 181.20 up to 181.30, look for resistance in that area. Above that, things really open up until Tuesday's high, 183.72. If in fact we can hold this area, Monday's low, at 180.27, should be minor support. But the major support really comes in here at the 14-day low of 179.04. Microsoft, which is kind of leading the market lower this morning after guiding with lowered PC sales, crashed through the dull bottom that it had from Monday and Tuesday at 27.72 to 75. So that's to serve as major resistance. We've bottomed out in the pre-market here at 27.38, so I'd keep an eye on that 27.38 to 40 level to see if investors are just going to shrug off this news. If not, 27.29, which was the low from Thursday, could come into play, and of course the $27 level in order to come down and fulfill the gap. Moving on to Chevron Corporation, was able to stick its head above that former all-time high of 110.01, but couldn't get to that all-time high at 110.99, stopping at 110.66. So that's just be major resistance. Before we get through that, though, folks, we're currently trading 70 cents below settlement of 109.06. So expect your initial resistance to come in at the 109 area. Coming back on the downside, last week's low is still hanging in there, 107.97, buffeted by Monday's low at 108.03. So major support here at the 108 level in Chevron Corporation. Moving on to J&J, except for yesterday, it had a series of lower highs and lower lows. Got a little reprieve yesterday, getting up to 65.40. I'd expect major resistance starting at the close, 65.20, all the way up to that 65.50 level. Coming back on the downside, we took out the weekly low at 64.61 on Monday, trading down to 64.41. So use that whole 64.50 area as major support. Moving on to Procter & Gamble, still meandering here between 66 and 67, really consolidating range. Currently trading at 66.08, which is just 1 penny from Monday's low. Tuesday's low was just above that. So look for resistance starting at Tuesday's low, 66.22 up to the close at 66.36. Coming on the downside, it looks like the Friday and weekly low can come into play in this stock today, which is 65.83. Moving on to our next component, AT&T, which really has been unable to recoup that ground lost from the dividend play. Really looking at this stock, the $30 level is really starting to be a major resistance. $29.92 was Tuesday's high, so expect resistance from $29.90 up to $30. Coming before you get to that level, use the $29.74 to $76 as your swing numbers. That was Tuesday's low and close. Coming back on the downside, that $29.50, which was Monday's low, should serve as support, and below that we have $29.30. General Electric kind of had an interesting day yesterday. We had talked about resistance at the 19 level. Lo and behold, it opened up right at that area, 1902, traded up to 1905, and then basically sold off for the rest of the day, making a low at 1862. Folks, keep in mind here, you have 3 consecutive lows right here in this 1856 to 1862 area. So you have GE opening up into good support. Coming on the upside, minor resistance at the close, and also at Monday's high and close at 1886 to 88. But let's look for that on any kind of rallies for this stock to have a hard time at the $19 level. And moving on to our final component, Coca-Cola, subject of a downgrade along with Pepsi at UBS. That downgrade seems to be carrying some weight as Coca-Cola is trading down 67 cents at 68.67. Interestingly, that's coinciding with the Friday and weekly low at 68.62. So let's look for perhaps a bounce there. If not, you have some lows back at the end of December at 68.32 and 67.83. Coming back on the upside, doesn't look like Tuesday's low is going to come into play at 69.11, but perhaps you get some sellers here at the $69 level. Well, that's a wrap of the Big Ten, folks. The S&P is just hanging out at mid-range here. We're able to settle above that 1280 level in the futures yesterday. Looking for a couple closes above that level in order to confirm this move up. Well, that's the SPU and Big Ten show for today, folks. We'll be back with you tomorrow morning.